Hello everybody. Yay, it's Winning Live Online with me, Pastor Debbie, Tuesday night, same time, same place, different message, hopefully a different outfit. As I said last week, I've sort of pulled all my winter clothes out of storage and getting our jerseys back on. Hope that you had a really good long weekend. We've got another long weekend coming up. And I know that a lot of guys kind of took the week off. I know children have been at home this week. And some moms and dads have also taken the opportunity to be at home this week. We aren't. We are in the office and working on Tuesday and tomorrow. Looking forward to a really great message tonight. And it's back to basics. I love that acronym, KISS, keep it simple. Silly. Not going to use the other word, which is, I don't like using that word. Keep it simple, silly. Hey Candice, hey Zama, good to see you both. And so remember, as always, send those emojis, comment, always good to see that, and share, Building Legacy 2030, which is the direction of our church for the next 5 years. It's all about growing in, so growing the person, growing the leader, so that they're able to go out and reach others. This is a great tool to be able to reach others, and it actually accomplishes two things, because it's reaching out to others, but it also is leadership development. It's developing leaders, it's developing people so that they become stronger in themselves, so that they're able to go out. Hey Ronnie, good to see you. Hope you had a good day today. Good to see you, Jen. Everyone's jumping on. So awesome. And so I'm going to start. Hopefully you've got something to remember, that one aha moment that you're going to get tonight, and go in tonight expectant. It's like, God, you're going to speak to me. I'm going to get something tonight. And then almost kind of preempt, I'm going to get it, but I'm also getting ready to work out, what am I going to do? How am I going to implement what I'm getting? It's no use getting an amazing sentence or statement and it just remains that. Then that's a bit pointless. Hey, Maddie, you need to listen, get, and then plan. How am I going to implement it? That's why I only take one thing. Sometimes in our enthusiasm, we can say, oh, that's awesome. I love all of those things. And I think sometimes the overcommitment to too much quantity results in lack of quality, because we end up doing nothing. Take one thing, one strategy, implement one thing. So are you ready? Let's talk tonight about back to basics. I've been in the ministry for 27 years. That's a long time. And I've learned a lot about KISS. Keep it simple, silly. I'm the kind of person, I'm a doer. I like to strategize. I like to make things happen. If you give me a plan and this is an idea, I'll make it happen for you. I'll put wheels on it. I love doing that. It energizes me. But in the years of working with different teams and different people, I've seen what happens when sometimes we can over-strategize and we can overcomplicate programs to the degree that we actually lose sight of, what's the program for again? I know particularly with me, I am a stickler for detail. I love attention to detail, but sometimes there can be so much detail. I'm detailing the detail that I'm detailing, that you can lose sight of, what is the actual measurable win we want here? What is the bottom line? And you know what? We need to keep on the same page as the Lord. And what's the same page? What do we have to do to be on the same page as God? It's very simple. Here are the three things. Don't forget this. These are the basics when it comes to being on the same page as God. Love Jesus, love church, love people. If you do that, you're on the same page as God. And I think sometimes we can drift off of this when we overcomplicate programs, when we overcomplicate strategies, even in our serving. If we lose sight of why we're doing what we're doing can sometimes become, oh, such a pain, and this is such a drag. Always keep in mind, why am I doing what I'm doing? And if you feel that you've gotten away from, I like to call it the bottom line. I'm the kind of person, don't give me, I like detail, but when I'm trying to excavate information, just give me the bottom line. And I think so often is when we get caught up in what we're doing, serving the Lord, and even in the workplace, you need to always keep in mind, what's the bottom line? What's my primary goal? And have I maybe lost direction? I love this when Jesus in Matthew 22, verses 36 to 37, one of the religious scholars spoke up and asks Jesus a question that they were hoping was going to trip Jesus up. And his answer is a bottom line, back to basics answer. And it's critical for us to keep this as our bottom line for what we do for the Lord. And the question is, teacher, which command in God's law is the most important? And this little upstart scholar thought to himself, I've got you, Jesus, because how are you going to answer this? Because surely every command that is God's is important. How are you going to discriminate? And look at what Jesus does. He says, love the Lord your God with all your passion and prayer and intelligence. This is the most important, the first on any list. But there's a second to set alongside itself. Love others as well as you love yourself. These two commands are pegs. Everything in God's law and the prophet hangs on them. He just gave beautifully the bottom line. Love the Lord your God, love others. Full stop, the end. So the mission of Jesus, the bottom line, the mission of Jesus is you and I. We are his mission. His mission is go and reach people, go and tell people. Love yourself and love one another. Tonight's text is the key to everything that the disciples were required to do. All of the church planting, all of the praying, all of the healing, all of it. Love God, love others as you love yourself. Let's go back to being on the same page as God. Love Jesus, love church, love people. The bottom line. The back to basics. Jesus was always bringing those around him back to the reason why they were following him. Remember when the two disciples, the mother came and said, my boys are so special and can't you elevate them? And Jesus said, no, it's not about elevating people. It's about loving Jesus, loving church, loving people. I watched a documentary last night about the very famous chef Jamie Oliver, and one of the things I really like about Jamie Oliver is he's very transparent and quite authentic and open, and he shares in the documentary about how devastated he was when of the 25 restaurants that he opened in the UK, 22 of them had to close because of bankruptcy. And it sunk millions of British pound. But the biggest thing, about 1,000 people lost their jobs. And in a public tweet in response to him he was actually in the USA when all of this happened, and he had to come home. And he was in the US and he was doing so many things. He had TV shows, he had cookbooks, he had so many things that he was busy doing, but he kind of lost sight of the bottom line. And so when he comes back to the UK and he closes 22 restaurants, and he says, I'm devastated that our much loved UK restaurants have gone into administration. I'm deeply saddened by this outcome and would like to thank all of the people who've put their hearts and souls into this business over the years. He became so involved in so many different things that he actually forgot what's the bottom line. It's interesting with him. The bottom line has resurfaced. He's older, he's wiser, and he's actually started, it's called Ministry of Food. And Ministry of a Food is actually the bottom line for him. It's about getting good nutrition, good cooking, good food into the schools, because he wants to impact the lives of children, which he sees would then be impacting the nation. So his ministry of food is on a mission to inspire and empower more people to enjoy the benefits of cooking and eating nutritious, sustainable and balanced meals. So he's actually introduced cooking as a subject that's taught in schools. And so they learn how to cook themselves nutritious food. The mission shows beautifully the bottom line of what he's all about. At the Ministry of Food, we have a big ambition to reach even more people with the transformative power of cooking. By 2030, we want to reach 1 million people through our campaigns. That's 3 million meals revolutionized. Jamie Oliver lost sight of the bottom line. He had to lose almost everything to get back to basics. Fortunately, he did, and he's actually doing what he was called to do, which is to impact and revolutionize the way that children eat in the UK. Focus leads to effectiveness. When we're doing 1,000 things and our focus is diversified and all over the place, we're actually quite ineffective. We're very busy, but we're busy doing nothing. If you look at the Apostle Paul was very focused. He knew he had to plant churches, he had to grow leaders, and he had to see growth of churches. And that's what he did. And there were lots of things to distract him. I mean, if you think about it, he faced shipwrecked, he faced being stoned, he faced being hungry, he faced being beaten, he faced so many things. He never lost focus. And he was incredibly effective. We are the result. What we enjoy today is the result of what he planted all those years ago. Let's look at that word focus. Focus. So in psychology, focus is the ability to direct and maintain attention or concentration on a specific task, activity, or stimulus. Bottom line is, it's about being able to select and concentrate on what's the most important and filter out all of the noise. Focus is incredibly important in being effective in serving God. So focus is a very important part of sustained activity. You know, if you start doing something and then you start doing something else and then you do something else and you do something else, first of all, your energy is depleted because there's too much diversification. What has God called you to do? What's the one thing that you feel God wants you to do? Because no one can do what you're doing. And then focus on that and build on that and serve and do. You know, it's important determining what direction am I taking with my life. Sometimes when we lack focus regarding our purpose, we can easily get confused by life. I mean, life can be chaotic. But if you know your focus, I know what my purpose is. My purpose is to live lives and to connect people to Jesus. And so that's what I keep my focus on doing. And anything else is a distraction. And when chaos hits, and it does, it's like, I know what I'm called to do. I need to stay on that track. So sometimes if we don't know, and if we're not focused regarding our purpose, we can say yes to things that we should be saying no to. You know, we need to master the art of simple in a society that offers way too many options. Keep it simple. What is the bottom line? What is your purpose? What has God put in your hand in terms of skill? What energizes you? What do you love doing? And then focus on doing that and repeat and repeat. You know, we can often lose our passion in an area because we lose our focus. When we lose our focus, the basics and the bottom line gets lost. So we need to constantly remind ourselves, why am I doing this? And it's not just in serving the Lord. It's in doing life. sometimes if you're feeling frustrated as a parent, maybe you feel your parenting is just, I'm just messing up. Stop. Why are you doing what you're doing? Parenting is about building relationship and equipping your children to be effective members of society and to be good leaders. So if you've had a rubbish day, that's okay, it's going to happen. But remember why you're doing what you're doing. You are raising up the next generation, and the Lord's with you and giving you wisdom to do that. Ask yourself the question in terms of why did I start doing this? Like maybe it's something that you're doing in serving. Maybe it's something you're doing in your job. You need to remind yourself of the driving reason why you do what you do. And even in areas like your marriage, like why did you say yes? And the simple can be so easily lost in our overcomplicated lifestyles and demands. Maybe you're frustrated in your marriage, but don't let that overshadow why you are together or the reason why you said yes, because that reason is still there. So don't allow temporary results to call into question fundamental roots. If you've hit a rough patch in your marriage, just stop. Why did I say yes? What are the reasons I said yes? What are the reasons that I'm in love with this person? Because generally those are still there. Don't let the rough patch erase what you've been building. You're going through a rough patch. Get help so you can get through the rough patch. But don't let that rock the foundational roots around your relationship. I get it. People change. Circumstances change. But convictions grounded in Jesus, we need to hold on tight to those in the rough and the tough. So coming back to these roots puts any present reality into eternal perspective. I'm going back to what's my mission? Connect people to Jesus, live lives. And so why are you building, loving, serving, surrendering, planting, doing? Why are you doing it? Let the passion that said the original yes be the filter before you say no. Let the love that motivated you to speak to the weariness that is currently counseling you. Your whys can change over time, but they often need to be reinforced rather than replaced, dusted off rather than discarded. Be encouraged with Philippians 1:6 that says, be confident of this. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. So what am I saying? Why are you doing what you're doing? Are you feeling frustrated where you're at? Are you feeling a bit burnt out? Go back to the basics. Why? What are the reasons you started? Realign your focus. Maybe your focus has been all over the place. God, what is it that you want me to do? In my case, connect people to Jesus, live life. So everything I do must come through that filter. And it's, but I don't know what my purpose is. God actually helped us with it. He told us in Matthew, love me, love Jesus, love people, love church. And so everything you do needs to encompass those things. Be on the same page as God. So maybe you've diversified yourself a little bit too much and you're spread a little bit too thin and you're just feeling a little bit overwhelmed. Do something about it. Change. You are a powerful person who in the Lord has been given the capacity and the ability to change. So change. Change one thing. Change one thing in your life. It's so often we think, there's so much I have to change. Change one thing and then repeat and repeat and repeat. So maybe for you, it's saying no. Just learning how to say no and not to feel guilt and condemnation. Because remember, when you're saying yes to the wrong thing, generally it means you have to say no to the right thing. So be encouraged, be challenged, but do something. If you're not happy where you're at, do something about it. Stop complaining. Action. Do something. And so my prayer for you tonight is that you will live in the confidence and the hope that Jesus has begun a good work in you, and that together we will see it through to completion. So be encouraged, be challenged, do something. Can't wait to see you next week. So great having time with you tonight. God bless. Take care. See you soon. Bye, everyone.